Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto live stream. And oh boy, am I excited to share this stuff with you guys today. We have a ton of stuff to talk about, but I think a lot of people are gonna get this notification, and so I'm gonna wait a little minute for a couple of people to hop on into the chat box, because right now we only have 10 people watching. Let's at least get to maybe like 100 or so, and then we'll start doing the story, as it's basically going to be talking about two things. One is the part about some of the trendy concepts, which are in this specific case here, the stablecoin, the XRP stablecoin allegedly. And then the second part, which is not going to be in an order specifically, is to talk about the XRP ledger escrow. Two parts in that, specifically how the escrow works, but also how Ripple has done their escrow, and whether or not that's usual and whatnot. Make sure you understand that I'm by no means an expert, and I will do my best to explain stuff while also looking into further details. But I cannot tell you I'm an expert or that I know exactly how it all works, but I do think I have a good idea. Let me quickly also share this over in Discord, and then we can get Crack-a-lack in. Here, you might enjoy new stream. Let's see. Wait a minute. Why is the guys? Why is the thumbnail so strange? Why is thumbnail so strange? Did the thumbnail show up as normal for you guys? Because in my Discord here, the thumbnail doesn't show anything. It shows something weird. And there's also not that many people. Maybe something went wrong. Whatever, man. We're just gonna talk about what we need to talk. Right? Screw the people. Screw the people. Whoever wants to join can join, and the rest it will go. All right. Let me quickly change the title just a little bit as well. Ripple XRP live I'll call it must watch as well. Why not? It's a pretty cool video. I think we have some interesting stuff to talk about. Everything seems normal. You know what? We'll just do as it is. All right, so Martin Falk posted this little 2-minute clip, which we actually watched in the previous live stream. But if you were in previous live stream, you have some extra info. The majority of people here, though, were not. And we're going to kind of re-explain it because it's still something really important. And I found some more info, found some more facts, and have a kind of broader theory now to kind of explain to you guys. So we're going to have to watch this video. And this time, I will just quickly let the video play out and then comment on it, instead of stopping it every single time to go intermediary. You guys get the picture, right? So let me quickly go over to my likes and find this video so I can let you guys listen to it. I have got it very close. Give me just a second. I need to find it. Here we go. Okay. No, this is the wrong one. Oh no, this is so annoying. I need to find the right video. No, I cannot find it anymore. I have to re-like. There we go. Okay, if you're wondering, by the way, why it's difficult for me to find, it's because I have to look now on my phone and find this thing. So I can type it on my phone, Martin Falk, but usually it just shows up within my likes. But right now it didn't, so that's pretty annoying. Oh, this is so awkward. I thought I had it, but it didn't. Okay, now I found it again. Took me some time, but we have it. Here we go. All right, let me play it for you.
Somebody also asked why.
Let's sync everything together. This is the problem if you have a MacBook and you cannot, let people hear the sound directly. This is annoying, but it's the way it goes.
Somebody also asked, why does XRP or Ripple having a stablecoin, how does that affect the price of XRP, or why is that a big deal?
Yeah, so, what it's going to allow, if you guys don't know, there's an arms race right now to create CBDCs and which chain these are going to be on. We do know that Ukraine, for instance, is going to be using Stellar as their underlying infrastructure. And when you look at, Ripple now, I want to be careful what I say here, because we have a big video coming out on this week, and I'm actually going to show you guys the white paper they created, the CBDC white paper they created in general. That one will be out probably Saturday or Sunday. So I'm going to save like a lot of my thoughts for that video, actually. But in general, if you look at all the top ecosystems, they have their own stable coins. It's very important. It allows more trading, more liquidity. And when you think about what Ripple's doing specifically with cross-border transfers, it's very easy to understand why having a stable coin would work and be good, because that makes prices stable. Now you're not actually having, because now I could be wrong. I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure that the actual back end of these money transfers still is probably slow, right? Like Ripple's doing stuff on the front end to get the money there quicker. But at the end of the day, if you're going to send 100,000 US dollars over to somewhere else in a different country, then that money's still got to eventually get there in cash, right? Yep. I think. I don't know the dynamics of how the actual transferring works on Ripple, but I assume they're still on the back end that's got to work. So you would think some volatility of the price of XRP could, come into play there. So having a stable coin could delete that volatility and make it much easier. So they call me the supreme leader of XRP now. The irony.
Yeah. Okay. So there, straight off the bat, here are a lot of things wrong with this video, and you guys, or Brad says he doesn't need more attention. By the way, very good sync on my part as well, huh? I did my best. Now, but you guys might say he doesn't need more attention. You know how many hundreds of thousands of people watch this type of stuff? And you know how many people are talking about this and asking me about what is going on with the stablecoin? We need to discuss this. So, long story short, there have been proposals for stablecoins, but it's not being confirmed. And he says that they have basically got I just slammed my MacBook. They got a white paper from an insider that shows an XRP stablecoin might be coming. I, of course, have straight off the bat the question, is it an XRP stablecoin that's built on top of the XRP ledger? Is it USD denominated? Is it, is it the proposal we're going to be talking about in just a second? Or is it something that was out there but he's revamping it or bringing it up again? Or is this new info that nobody's ever heard before? And if so, how different is it then than some of the earlier proposals like this one right here, the XRP collateralized stablecoins from 2019? So that is a really interesting subject, but straight off the bat, one of the things he has wrong is, for example, how a transfer on the front end can be really quick, but on the back end takes a really long time. One of Ripple's main fixes, of course, is this back end problem. Key being here, if you are using a financial institution, well, right now, the front end, back end, it can be a really big discrepancy there. So the front end, for example, to actually transfer the money for you could take, for example, 3 hours. But the back end can actually take, let's say, for example, 6, 7 days, 3 days, who cares? A little bit of time. It's actually, though, mostly about the front end for user experience and the back end for the financial institution themselves. Yet, through the whole Ripple system that people are talking about right now that we are excited for, it's about changing both of those and hopefully even getting rid of the majority of the back end labor and the back end timing. Now, if he's ever talking about there's a volatility that could be happening, we have talked before about how there's actually more volatility in fiat transfers than in XRP transfers, mostly due to the time that's taken for the transfer to be done. But also think about it. We talked before about cross-currency payments. This is one of the lessons I actually gave to you guys, I believe, yesterday, right? Yesterday, our lesson was cross-currency payments. Today is going to be the XRP escrow feature. Both are payment types, by the way. You can see them in this list. And the interesting part about that one is that it basically explained how even transfers of money that are not native to the XRP ledger, they're basically taken into it via XRP ledger gateways, that those can be handled on top of it. And what that kind of really points towards is how fast things can go. And to this auto bridging feature, it will basically decide whether or not a direct pair, if there's at least one path, will happen, or if it will be USD to XRP to Mexican peso. And what that basically means is it basically checks whether or not this quick transfer of USD to XRP to Mexican peso would be cheaper than a USD to Mexican peso itself. If that's a thing that it's checking, don't you also understand that a stablecoin really would not change too much in this entire manner? If the transfer, for example, takes 4 seconds, let's say, where exactly is the volatility going to lie? In that 4-second span? Not that much can happen in that piece of time. If we're talking, for example, a couple hours, a couple of days, a lot can happen, but even stable coins are volatile to some degree. And if we're talking about a 4-second discrepancy there, or a 4-second timer, I'm not sure about the mathematics of it all, but XRP falling, for example, 0.1% in 4 seconds is quite significant. But a stablecoin could do the exact same thing, though, if we're talking about 4 seconds and very small percentages. Because yes, guys, stablecoins can go up by 1 and minus 1%, but usually they're just within margins of, let's say, about 0.1 or about 1/10 of a percentage. Then again, it's not completely gone. A stablecoin could be a little bit better, but it's not completely the truth though. And if you're talking about go find David Swartz's video, of course we have that open. Of course I watched the video earlier today. We watched it twice. I've just told you guys about that in the previous live stream. The thing is though, he explains it in the most elaborate way possible. Not easy to understand at all. Can I recommend you guys to watch it? No, because why do you need it? A XRP Ledger stablecoin proposal is not relevant to your life at all, because this idea has been proposed in 2019 and there hasn't really been any new headway since then. There has been, for example, this post as well, which is basically why the video was made a little bit later to explain it a little bit more in depth. One of the original use cases for the XRP Ledger was using the built-in decentralized exchange to exchange between stablecoins and to exchange stablecoins for XRP. Right? Okay, that's a functionality that a decentralized exchange has. Not too strange. Currently, only stablecoins that have a backer/issuer are supported. It's only legitimate stablecoins. We propose adding a collateralized stablecoin feature to the XRP Ledger. The key distinguishing property of this proposal is that the stablecoin is always redeemable for XRP on the ledger and from the collateral pool. And this specifically is basically why any stablecoin proposal that has been done as of this point would not be bad for XRP, because it's actually literally, as it says right here, redeemable for XRP, which is extremely good. So, for example, if you hold 1 unit of USD stablecoin, which again can be brought up, and this proposal here doesn't necessarily say that Ripple will issue a stablecoin, it basically says they could allow for it. If you hold 1 unit of USD stablecoin, you can make on-ledger payments at any time, just as if you held $1 worth of XRP. And the way that I'm seeing it right now is, again, being able to pay with stablecoin, for example, for $1 worth of XRP, is actually just building more use case for XRP itself. You might think that's kind of counterintuitive, but is it really? If there's more options to actually kind of pay as if you were using XRP, even though theoretically speaking there's some ways around actually utilizing the coin, there's more demand for it, right? Because otherwise, why would people ever do it? Now, we propose a scheme as follows, and this is where things get a little bit more difficult, and that's why I try to kind of stay away from it, but we kind of have to. This whole stablecoin ordeal is not simple. Let me quickly put it again. It is not simple, not an easy proposal, not an easy idea, and it's not worth your time to really look deeply into unless they're actually going to build it out, which we'll see in a couple of days from here. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because, what's his name now? BitBoy has said Saturday or Sunday he'll post a video with the white paper itself and all the lefts and rights to it. If we see that and it's a paper we've never seen before and it's legitimate, maybe something else is going to come. But as it currently stands, as I've said before, there hasn't been any major update for a long time right now. And Ripple themselves have said in articles before, I have it open for you right here, that, once more, let's quote, the executive stated that the XRP should be considered as a bridge asset in international settlement. Now, let's quickly make one more point. BitBoy said that the bridge asset would kind of not work because it would take a couple of days and there's volatility. Well, that doesn't make it a bridge asset then, right? If that were to make sense. And there are various types of crypto assets, but I think that the role of XRP as a bridge asset in international settlement and is not competing with stablecoins or CBDC, but on the contrary, is complementary. We believe that various stablecoins and CBDCs will create a synergy by responding to the liquidity problem by bridging independent crypto asset, XRP. If you just kind of read that for yourself as well, just reread it, we know, just from reading this on its own already, they're not going to make their own stablecoin in the sense that you might think. If at all, it is to build out the ecosystem to work more properly with CBDCs, but ultimately, it will have XRP as its core. If not, it would be a direct competition to whatever they're, like, let's see it from this perspective. If it's not a stablecoin that is complementary to the CBDCs, then they're having a really big problem because they're basically competing with the CBDCs to some degree, right? Or they're competing with some of the existing frameworks that they want to work with in their network. So you're basically shooting yourself in the foot. I'm not sure they would do that. It's the same thing as saying Ripple will become a bank. Theoretically speaking, they're the best entity to become a bank for the people, but from a perspective of, customers and just ecosystem, it would be pretty stupid if they were to actually become a bank because, well, what exactly does the ecosystem have with them then if they are direct competition, basically? It sounds dumb to me. So, yeah, look at this. You can see a little bit more about Yoshikawa emphasized that ODL is designed to eliminate pre-funding and cross-border payments, which again is one of BitBoy's points that is just reassured here. The entire debacle of volatility, I think, is a pretty stupid one. But all right, let's see a little bit more about what we were talking about just now. Let's see the proposal a little bit further. So we propose the following scheme. Anyone may place XRP into a position that they own. Okay? If the position is sufficiently collateralized, it may issue a stablecoin. Position owners may adjust the XRP in their positions so long as it maintains sufficient collateral. Position owners may issue and redeem stablecoins in their positions so long as it maintains sufficient collateral. Severely under-collateralized positions may be taken over by recollateralizing them. Whoever does so keeps the remaining access collateral. An order book mechanism will be used to permit the stablecoin to be automatically exchanged for XRP by redeeming against the least collateralized positions first, which once more demand for XRP, or at least more use for it, I guess, from that perspective too. And then this encourages over-collateralization and cleans up positions that are in danger of becoming under-collateralized. But once more, if they're going to go automatically into XRP, that would be only amazing stuff. There's no negative side to it. Pathfinding will be augmented to use redemption against the collateral, so payments with the stablecoin work the same way as if you held the corresponding amount of XRP. So in the end of things, it doesn't matter. It's not, at least not a bad thing. The scheme is not perfectly decentralized because some organizations or federations still must supply the price the asset is pegged to on a continuous basis or the stablecoin will freeze. That part I'm not exactly sure about. I mean, I'm sort of about thinking about Chainlink here, but even that, I guess Chainlink 2.0 might be needed for a scheme like this with constant price updates. I mean, an API can't really work for that. I'm not exactly sure how that would follow along, so please don't quote me on all of this. You guys are saying check James' Twitter. I'll check him out in just a second. Their organization can set a reserve ratio that they can use to tax the stablecoin system or to provide a reserve to buy out under collateralized positions. Well, point being, really difficult, but probable. And then the most obvious application is a stablecoin pegged to a fiat asset such as the dollar. However, stablecoins can also be pegged to the value of precious metals, stocks, indices, and so on. This post is one suggestion for an enhancement to the XP ledger. A proposal, an idea. And here, this is from October 2nd. It's basically a really big change, a really interesting proposal. Let's quickly see, where was it now? There was one part, I think it's in the previous one actually that we closed just now. I might have to go back because David Swartz also had more to say about it. But you guys get the picture I'm trying to paint, right? There have been multiple, let's quickly see here. Oh, here we go. David Swartz went to explain a little bit about the underlying stuff about it and people asking questions because there are a ton of them. If you talk about other stablecoins that are collateralized by other assets like USDT, several more questions arise. Where are those stablecoins issued exactly? As you know, the issuer has to be a private organization which is accountable, liable, and therefore the ledger of those particular private party has to be used as included. Otherwise, you are just creating XRP-S on the XRP ledger, XRPs. How is the constant volatile price development between XRP and therefore XRPS and the alien stablecoin compensated? Well, someone creates a stablecoin pegged to some asset, the creator provides the price feed and governance, then anyone who wants to can lock XRP up and issue a stablecoin. Holders of the stablecoin can redeem against the collateral. As the price changes, holders of the stablecoin have claims to changing amounts of XRP to keep the value of the stablecoin constant. Holders of XRP collateral have the value of the collateral change. So it's basically XRP underlying the entire system here. So some people are saying, I don't understand. Let's see it like this. There's a lot of opportunities for stablecoins, but the majority of them would have XRP as the back end of things, so it would only be bullish, only be nice. Yet I'm really wondering exactly what BitBoy has that we didn't know about before. That's basically what I'm wondering about. All right, let's see what else we had here. This is all about the stablecoin. Let's now dive a little bit into, because we are also done with the cross-currency payments, into escrow. Ooh, my days, do we have a lot to talk about here, guys. I took a lot of time to research or kind of dig into it myself a little bit, put in a lot of effort, but it's pretty difficult. I'm not actually talking about the simple escrow payment itself, but the real in-depth about what type of features the escrow has and all functionalities and everywhere it can go to. It's actually a lot more elaborate than I ever could have expected. And by the way, guys, if you are enjoying these updates and videos, make sure you press that like button. I think this is the worst stream in terms of viewers we have ever done in like a year or two, but we're still doing it anyway, right? We have some stuff to talk about, and I would rather make a stream than a video update, Because if I have the time, I'll always make a stream so I can actually interact with you guys and see what you guys have to say. If I say something wrong, then I'm going to help myself out. But you guys saying check James first. We shall do that before we get into this escrow. Hopefully I don't lose my story too much, but we'll see. Oh, okay, you guys are okay. We're talking about the breaking news, huh? Okay, you know what? We will change the title. You know what? I will change the title for you. Ripple XRP breaking. SEC breaking lawsuit update. SEC just posted a new reply to the deposition. Let's go. There we go. All right. I need to also make a new thumbnail. Okay. So I haven't read this because it just came out. You guys told me about it. It just came out 6 minutes ago. You are okay. I'll follow you. Yeah. There we go. You deserve for tagging me in that. Okay. Wow. Things have become a little bit more interesting. I wanted to talk about the escrow. I guess let's quickly change the title a little bit. I will upload these things separately. I'll make sure that I edit it properly so you guys can actually see. I'm a little bit confused. Lawsuit update. I might have to change perspectives here a little bit. Ooh, okay. The SEC, SEC trying again. No, SEC come back. All right, let's try this new thumbnail. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be talking about the about the escrow feature. Then I might have to do that in another video separately. Maybe we'll publish these as well separately. Who knows? Let's just talk about exactly what's in front of us right now. You just said it. I know, man. I didn't think it would be this big a deal. Next time, right, Dusty, there's a freaking SEC lawsuit update, something like that. It's been a couple of days, man. I didn't expect this to come out. I didn't expect anything to change along these lines. Let's open it up. Let's see what we got. Let's see what this bad boy can bring for us. Let's see if it's interesting. Let's see if it's cool. Okay. I'm a little bit confused what just happened. What just happened. And I'm also not sure how I'm going to set this all up, but we'll see. All right. Jens and everybody in the chat box, thank you all so much for quickly updating. There we go. Let's also quickly share it over on Twitter, I guess, to make sure that people see it. We are covering it live right now. All right. There we go. Okay. Yeah. Okay. SEC respectfully submits its reply to squash this deposition, which defendants served on William H. Inman, the former director of the SEC's division. Okay, so what we are looking for, what we're waiting for, what we are checking to see is specifically two parts. One, we want to know if the SEC thinks that Ripple, and by the way, this is not like a 50-pager anymore, this is only 4 pages long. We want to know if the SEC says right now that Ripple didn't give kind of a probable, not cause, but like probable reason for questioning. And we also want to see if the SEC denies Ripple's proposal of denying basically the questions on a question per question basis and not just fully admit privilege or fully ask for privilege. That's two things that we're going to have to watch out for. And that's the only two things which I'm really interested in. The rest, I don't really think the SEC stands a chance for anyway. Do I think Ripple will just get this done and through? Of course, but still might be something interesting to watch. So let's quickly take a little bit of a look, huh? Defendants have not demonstrated, as required by Lederman, that Director Hinman has unique first-hand knowledge, or information they seek is not available from other sources as to any facts about which they seek to elicit testimony. The only topic on which defendants even claim incorrectly that Director Hinman has unique first-hand knowledge is the circumstances under which he prepared and gave his ether speech and the agency's treatment of the speech after the fact. So straight at the bat, this is extremely dumb. So Ripple has explained that they do not have to give that much probable, like it's not probable cause, but it's kind of what I feel like is the closest resemblance to the thing, that they have to give, kind of like a probable cause to question him because he was a former SEC director and Ripple side says, well, they don't have a high burden and this Lederman case doesn't apply. This man is not privileged. William Hill because he doesn't work for the SEC anymore. He has first-hand knowledge because he's worked for the SEC prior, though. He's just a normal human being that has knowledge on the facts. I mean, he was there when the speech about Ethereum was given, and he was also there to know about how the SEC treated Ethereum. So, I mean, he was there. He has unique first-hand knowledge. I mean, yeah, he has a perspective, right, as an SEC member. We want to know what he thought throughout this journey. At least that's something that I can suppose could be important. So, Ripple not being able to prove that, I think, is just pure BS. Obviously, they can prove that easily. And again, it's again basically a back and forth about whether or not Ripple even has to prove that, because they say William Hillman has no special treatment at all in that specific sense. He's just a normal human being. But this proposed area of inquiry wouldn't necessarily delve into the SEC's non-public internal deliberations and is protected by the deliberative process and other privileges. And this one, again, digs deep into what Ripple has said before. Luckily, I read that entire paper, right? So I have the facts. What Ripple said on this specific part as well is, as far as I know now, sorry, I got a little bit distracted because Martin Falk just joined the chat, so I'm a little bit, okay, people are watching me. Sometimes you get self-conscious when you know people are watching you that, I don't know, that, yeah, I don't know, man, I sometimes feel self-conscious. So, about this specific part, I believe that Ripple in their letter actually stated that they could deny this, and they could actually state that some of the parts are privileged, and again, non-public. Two parts. The SEC, of course, was ordered by the court to give over a lot of these non-public internal deliberations, so that really doesn't apply. But otherwise, if they're talking about this 2018 Ether Hinman speech, that might be privileged because it's SEC inside, so he doesn't have to give his opinion as to why he gave that speech or whatnot. But Ripple said they can object, but they can only object on a basis by basis, or question for question basis, because really, the SEC doesn't know exactly what they're going to ask him. It could be that they have the basically the speech as a basis, but don't actually directly ask about the speech. However, since he gave the speech, Ripple can kind of assume that he has some first-hand knowledge in the matter, or at least has got some knowledge from within the SEC. But the questions, however, could be different, so that one also doesn't make a lot of sense. Moreover, defendants can seek to obtain any non-privileged information on this topic through other means, which is also a lie because, the SEC doesn't really work with them. At least that's what that's what Ripple has been telling the judge, including thorough written discovery requests to the SEC. Well, once more, they've done that. SEC didn't really give in, and other failure to do so precludes them from making the required Litterman showing. Okay, stupid in my opinion, but all right. Once more, guys, I'm not a lawyer, just reading this and thinking that some things are stupid, because I firmly believe that this deposition will pull through and the SEC will deny some questions that Ripple has, which basically means that Ripple will put up a list of questions up front, and the SEC can say, hey, this one we want to fight, this one we want to fight, this one we want to fight, and then the judge has to make the ultimate decision, most likely. Now, the other topic on which defendants seek to elicit testimony, Director Hinman's communications with third parties, by definition, is something about which Director Hinman does not have unique first-hand knowledge, and defendants do not even suggest otherwise, which is because Ripple says they don't have to. Defendants are left to argue that Director Hinman was not a high-ranking government official. This is ironic. Director Hinman is the SEC's official whose personal opinions about Ether were viewed as newsworthy, and defendants' claim caused a spike in the price of Ether and led to speculation about the future viability of the Howey standard and legal status of XRP. Now, I already know this is a two-sided sword, a two-edged sword, because Ripple and the SEC both have kind of a contrarian view on this one, where, look at this. The SEC basically says that because, no, they basically say, let me kind of think here in my head. The SEC says that William is a high-ranking official because his documents are privileged, but he is not high-ranking enough where he has first-hand knowledge, but he also is. And I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to claim with this story right now. Defendants are left to argue that Director Hinman was not a high-ranking government official. And that is actually partially also because of the privilege part of things. Because, well, let's kind of read further and then get my knowledge back up, because we read the paper like a couple of days ago, a couple of weeks ago. I have to kind of fresh this up. But I remember talking to you guys about it, saying that this was a mixed view that the SEC had themselves, which was odd. Okay, this is ironic. Director Hinman is the SEC official whose personal opinions about Ether were viewed as news. Okay, I get it again. So Ripple must say that he's not a high-ranking official or government official because otherwise it would make him privileged. Yet the SEC claims now that he does not have any first-hand knowledge or any mattering knowledge that only he could have. Well, if he's such a high-ranking guy, then most likely it is worthy for him to be interviewed, right? Most likely it's important, and specifically about this part. They say Director Hinman is the SEC official whose personal opinions about Ether were viewed as newsworthy in defendant's claim, yada, yada, yada. So if the SEC official's personal opinions about Ether were viewed as this big a deal, wouldn't it be logical if they wanted to interview him or get some talks about him if his personal opinions made this much of a difference and actually spiked the price of Ether, for example? It would be logical that they want to interview him, right? And that he only, since this was his personal opinion, would have some knowledge on this. And because of that newsworthy speech, the price spiked and led to speculation about the future viability of Howey and the legal status of XRP, yes. Moreover, defendants cannot point to a single case where the deposition of an SEC official of Director Hinman's rank was allowed. Nor can they distinguish because, once more, Ripple says that this does not matter because Director Hinman is not working there anymore. So who cares? I mean, he might have been a high-ranking official, which Ripple likes to deny. And even if he was, that would make more probable cause to actually question him. But right now, he's just a normal person because he doesn't work for the SEC, so he doesn't have any high-rank status. So that's also, again, why Ripple doesn't do this because they don't have to because he doesn't work there anymore. He's not a high-ranking official at all right now. So, I mean, nor can they distinguish the many cases where courts quash the deposition or other similarly ranked officials. Defendants are thus asking the court to make new law by ordering the deposition of someone who held one of the highest ranking positions within an independent federal agency in order to question him about external meetings about which they could depose other participants, which again is dumb. Look back at what they just wrote again. He had personal opinions about the matter, and he most likely had talks with, for example, the Ethereum Foundation or Federation that nobody else might know. You might say, oh, but then question the Ethereum Federation. Well, I mean, this might be an easier fashion, and this guy is the SEC side who's actually suing you. So it might, I don't know, might actually, oh, sorry, you say scroll down a little bit further? Sorry. It might just be more logical, though, to actually question him. I don't know. You might always state, oh, but if you're going to question him, you could also question the other side, right? Where it's basically like this. If you can question one person about a partnership, you can always question the other side. But why choose the other side if you could question the first person? Just because it's not that nice for the other side? I mean, it's a difficult one. But Director Hinman should not have to endure a lengthy deposition dominated by the SEC's assertion of privilege, which again are all debatable because Ripple denies that. Before defendants challenge the SEC's privilege assertions before the court, the SEC's motion to strike Ripple's fair notice defense is pending and may render the deposition of Director Hinman irrelevant. A very big debacle by that one as well. Ripple says not completely true nor that relevant to the matter, but if the SEC successfully gets to strike down Ripple's fair notice defense, then this deposition becomes irrelevant. Partially true, partially not true. The reason it's true is because, well, Ripple doesn't really need to know what the stance from within the SEC was back then, because if fair notice wasn't given or isn't really a factor anymore, then it doesn't matter what the SEC thought in the past. Then again, it might always be relevant because you might want to know for the determination of XRP right now, what was thought throughout the journey. Because even if fair notice actually doesn't get, or basically gets struck down and doesn't stay around, it might still to some degree be relevant to know what the SEC stands were in the past, but whatever. It's pending direction with no trial date set and a 90-day discovery period available to both parties. If Judge Torres denies the individual defendant's motion to dismiss, a decision on the Letterman issue can be deferred, and there's no reason for Director Hinman to be deposed now. Once more, it's kind of the easy way out of saying, oh, I mean, all these points Ripple has already, kind of put down. They're trying again with these same arguments which they put in their first letter. So how it works is they put a motion to quash, Ripple posted a response, and now the SEC posted a reply. And as it currently stands, this reply is extremely stupid because they're basically repeating the first points in the first one, not trying to find anything new, just saying the exact same stuff which Ripple in the previous letter basically went into. Which is why I'm able to kind of go over this and say it's pretty stupid. Literally these points, Ripple has addressed in their previous letter to explain why this is not the case. First one directly, bada boom, bada bing. Check back into Ripple's letter, we might do that. There go my AirPods Pro. Okay, let me go look for them maybe. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Where do I find? They both fell out. Okay, I found one. There we go. Now, where is number 2? You might think they're not that big. There we go. Okay. Bada boom, bada bing. Did they break? Uh-oh. No joke? Yes, they did. The case is damaged. There's a really big... There's a really big black... Yeah, okay, sorry. There's a really big black stain on it now. I think because it fell on the microphone stand, and that one is really some tough stuff. Well, hopefully it still works. Otherwise, they go the $300. AirPods is brain radiation? Could be. Who cares? Alright. Always breaking shit? Do you think I want to? I just bought these as well. It's not ugly as a... No. Okay. That's too sad. But it's the way things go. It's the way that things go, guys. Alright, so point 1, Director Hinman was clearly a high-ranking official. Ripple debated that one. Second, Director Hinman has no unique knowledge of any discoverable facts. Ripple debated that one. And that's all they got. 2 pieces. Leighton F. Stewart. That's the first time I've seen her write something. Okay. Martin says, I'm pretty sure the SEC are not allowed to address new points in the reply. Otherwise, Ripple would be allowed to respond again. Very fair point, Martin. I actually know that for a fact as well. You're completely right about that one. That's actually one of the first things we learned from... I don't know who you learned it from the first time, but that was actually something I think we looked it up in the stream as well, like a couple of months ago already. They're only allowed to kind of elaborate on it. You're right. I guess still the point remains the same, though. Ripple just kind of went over all of them, explained why it's not true. They're trying again. And actually, that makes a lot of sense in the reply sense as well. They have to reply to Ripple's early response, and they can try again, which I still think doesn't make a lot of sense. Why? We haven't read it, so I can't really give you guys the in-depths, but I personally find that these two just kind of, how do you call them? Points on their own, just point 1 and number 2. Look at this. Director Hinman has no unique knowledge of any discoverable facts. This is the SEC saying that this individual, a quote-unquote high-ranking, extremely high-ranking, as they like to emphasize on it, has no relevant knowledge that is unique. And unique is also definitely kind of a difficult one to say because unique, of course, is debatable. Because if he has knowledge that another party has, but only one party that's also equally as hard to interview, who are you going to interview then, right? Or who are you going to depose? Either. Defendants claim that Director Hinman has unique first-hand knowledge of circumstances, and I saw already in the footnotes, I think the next one it is. Here, Director Hinman has already affirmed that he had no communications with market participants about the legal status of XRP, the only inquiry relevant to defendant's fair notice defense. This is already straight from the get-go really dumb, because they're now trying to make it look as if XRP is the only thing Ripple has been questioning and the only thing relevant to the fair notice defense or that Director Hinman could have in terms of internal knowledge that could be relevant. No, obviously not. Now, I would say also 2 more things. First of all, Ripple doesn't actually have to only base this on their fair notice defense. Logically speaking, it could be on other parts of this lawsuit too, right? The one that they pose him for. It shouldn't just have to be as a defense for their motion to strike that they have against him. So even if it wasn't for fair notice, logically speaking, a previous member of the SEC to depose a person, he's not working anymore. Make sure you understand that. It's not that strange, not that crazy. We actually read that from one of the lawyers before. They said it's not that crazy to just depose somebody that doesn't work anymore. Oh, you say can't hear me? Talk closer. I'm gonna quickly check if my microphone accidentally switched over to my AirPods now, or something like that. Let's quickly see if the microphone is still good. Can you guys still hear me properly? I'm gonna check my audio. Yeah, it still says my microphone is the same one. Yeah, it says it's good. Because sometimes the AirPods fall out and the noise just kind of breaks itself. Let me see. I put the sound. Yeah, I think we're all good. Okay. Just have to quickly check that a little bit. Hear you loud and clear. Okay. Martin, what do you... Man, Martin, I actually have to find out a way to be able to talk to you as well in these live streams that I do. Because right now, I would like to ask, but, like, what do you think about the situation? But it's impossible, I think. I would have to go through, for example, Discord or Google Meets and actually open that on my phone and then be able to listen to you. But that would be a little bit cumbersome. Not exactly. I should have thought that out a little bit earlier then. But man, let me know in the chat box what you guys think about the current situation. I think they're trying to make a point where it's not really due. I don't think they really have a really high... No, let's say it differently. I don't think they have a really good case for themselves here on this matter. I don't think they're going to win this one. And that's actually one of the first times where I'm pretty damn sure that it just doesn't look good for them. Sometimes I give them the benefit of the doubt, but in this specific case here, I don't know. I can't feel as if they're looking strong here. I just can't come over the argument that Ripple said you can actually accept the question, the deposition, and then every single fact on its own will be proposed and you can deny those, if any of the information was privileged. Yet they're still trying to kind of state that that's not the case. Now, I guess I might have to read it all the way through. I don't want to bore you guys with every single piece of information here, just because I also have to kind of read back into Ripple's response from earlier and then give you guys all the official facts. Jen says in the chat box, though, what I don't get is if he's not a high-ranking official, he may be deposed. If he is a high-ranking official, his opinion matters, even if personal. Both ways are bad for the SEC. That's kind of my stance about it too. Like, anything you're gonna put up, if he is not, if he is completely privileged, I guess all this argument kind of goes away. But I don't believe that they're actually arguing that. I don't believe they even claim that he's fully privileged. And Ross Reynolds in the chat box saying XP is dead. He's point number 500 to say the same thing. There's how many people are actually trolling, coming into these chat boxes, for example, to say that it's dead. You're saying you're trolling? Oh, okay. You know how many people do that, though? That come in the chat box purely to say that XP is dead and we're all idiots. It's pretty funny. Because people take their time to come into an XRP live stream, for example, and say, you know what, what you guys are all doing, what you guys are all excited for? No, I don't care about that. I think it's going to go to zero. And they want to express themselves fully to the detail as to why they think they're right. Which, of course, anybody may do. But I don't really see the point in that. Unless you have some really convincing arguments, which people really don't have that often. But maybe one day. Maybe one day somebody will actually convince me to sell all my coins. What would the irony in that be, huh? What would the irony in that be? But no. I wanted to actually explain the escrow feature. That's actually what our mission was of today. So if you're, by the way, just tuning into the live stream, what we did the first round, basically. Hey, Martin, I was actually talking about you as well, about this video. We actually watched it at the start of the live stream. Now, what we basically did is at the start talk about the stablecoin proposal. And what we are assuming / thinking is that he might be referencing the David Schwartz stablecoin XRP collateralized stablecoin proposal, which would be good for XRP. There's a new idea that he basically came up with a CBDC paper that Ripple posted back in the past and basically link it to something else from the past. There's a chance for that. There's definitely a chance for that. That he basically found a CBDC paper because Ripple has a ton of them and started to put things up. There's definitely this argument that he's not knowledgeable enough to make any sense. One point being that XRP in the front end goes pretty fast, but in the back end takes a lot of time. It makes absolutely no sense. Volatility claim is, of course, literally the mission that XRP has to become the bridge currency. We talked about that in the specific sense of cross-currency payments, where one of the literal, features is auto bridging, which basically checks for the fastest and easiest connection. If USD to Mexican peso would be better, it wouldn't actually bridge it using XRP. It is only if XRP would make it, literally better. And so saying that, oh, there's this whole volatility risk. Stablecoins have volatility too, so that's not the good argument necessarily. You might say a stablecoin is always $1. It actually isn't. In splits of seconds and in huge transfers, there is volatility to some degree. It can actually be that a stablecoin, for example, goes to $1.01, sometimes even 99 cents or even 98, 97. It's happened that stablecoins sometimes go to $1.28 if there's huge transfers or things going wrong. This happens before, and again, the higher the transfers, the more that things can change, logically. Martin Fox says, I'm going to bed. As you know, it's 2:30 here in the Netherlands. I thought you were in Spain, my man. But for me, it's also 2:30. Yes, I kind of forgot about that. News doesn't stop. News doesn't stop. Oh, my days. Yeah. So that was, again, our kind of story about the stablecoin proposal. Then we went over into escrow. I actually didn't get too far into it. What I wanted to explain was basically how the XRP escrow works. And that's what we're going to do for a little bit right now. P.S. Can you do me a favor and send 26 subscribers my way? I'm so close to 1,000. You moved to Den Haag last week. Go check out Martin Falk, guys. Good guy within the XP community. Go check his channel out. He's almost at 1,000 subs. If you aren't subbed yet, I don't know exactly what you post. I only watched one vid. But, knowledgeable about XP. Go check him out. I don't think it's going to work, but maybe, maybe 28 people will hop on over. 26. Who knows? Would you guys like an explanation of the XRP/Ripple escrow? And good night, Martin. Good night. Or would you like me to make a separate video about that, or just do it another day? Let me know, and we'll get talking, or what do you guys think is a smart idea? Should we talk about XRP escrow, or another time? Because I got my story straight, but maybe you guys don't want to hear about it now. How can there be 350 people in the chat box? Nobody replying. Oof. I don't know if you guys want it or not. Let me quickly see if the chat is a little bit different on my phone. Maybe it's lagged. Could even be. Today, well, yes. Haha, do it. Screw it. We'll do it. We'll talk about it a little bit. All right. So I went to do a little bit of research today. It took quite a lot of time. It took me hours to figure out the entire story. Why? Because partially I'm an idiot, and partially because I wanted to have my story straight if I'm ever going to talk about something. Right? The same thing for this cross-currency payments. This was a lot easier, but I went to check every link, every piece of information that I could find, just to make sure that I understand it properly right now. And one guy in the chat box says, can you talk about Ripple white paper? If you're talking about the XRP original white paper, that's one thing. Otherwise, I'm not sure exactly what white paper you're talking about. The new Bitcoin white paper, that's just something that he either made up or we'll see on Saturday, because we have no idea. So the XRP ledger, I've been looking into it, right? There's two parts of it. One is the part which is basically on the official xpledger./escrow, right? Basically xpl.org/escrow. This is just how an escrow would usually work. And then there's also this part which is basically David Schwartz's explanation in 2017 of what exactly they did with the XRP that Ripple owns. Well, even though we could cover this part, which I still want to do at one point or another, I'll do it in another video. We'll cover it a little bit more in depth. Let's just do it, for a small part right now, because I know there's not too many people watching, and I don't think there's too many people excited about it. An escrow on its own is just another payment type, which basically just means an escrow, if they basically want to set some money into escrow, it's again like sending a payments, but then with conditions. And that basically means that I could make an escrow right now within my, let's say, account, and I could basically let me see if I have it open somewhere. This is a Ripple wallet, right? A Ripple, you can see it. This is their address. What they basically did is sent themselves escrows. These are escrow creations. It is actually the type escrow. That's again the payment type that in this specific case it is. And what they're basically doing is making the reserve XRP in this account ridiculously high, or at least in this case, add 500 million to it, where they basically cannot take 500 million out under some conditions, which could be an expiry or in terms of time, or a couple of different other conditions which have been preset. Now, these preset things are quite elaborate too. There's actually a whole new freaking book you can write about how the multi-signature, which again can be kind of seen on the left right here, actually works in the sense of how things are validated, how these conditions might work. But in this specific case here of the XRP ledger escrow that is about Ripple's XRP, this is all not too relevant. At first I had questions though, because when you start reading, you'll find this right here at the start. Let me quickly see. Here. The XRP set aside in an escrow is locked up. No one can use or destroy let's actually start from the first part here. Escrow is a feature of the XP ledger that allows you to send conditional XRP payments. These conditional payments, called escrows, set aside XRP and deliver it later when certain conditions are met. Conditions to successfully finish an escrow include time-based unlocks and crypto conditions, which again are really elaborate. Escrows can also be set to expire if not finished in time. Now, the XRP set aside in an escrow is locked up. We know that. No one can use or destroy the XRP until the escrow has been successfully finished or canceled. This is where things get a little bit difficult already, because we have talked before about how the XRP community could destroy the escrow, which still is true though. I first thought, ooh, what are they talking about? But this is actually about no individual, for example, the person who made the escrow or who was supposed to receive it, can actually destroy it because it's been conditioned and that is validated or verified. Before the expiration time, only the intended receiver can get the XRP, and after the expiration time, the only person who can get the XRP is the sender. This is also not completely true. This got me scared because I thought, so in this current system then, because Ripple made the escrows within their own account and they basically sent the money to themselves with a timer, they could just kind of cancel it and basically get the money. But that doesn't always have to be the case because there's actually non-cancelable escrow features as well. And in this specific case, it's just not possible. At least that's what I fetched from all of this. Make sure you understand that I'm not a professional. This is what I found. So let's read this because you'll know everything you need to know if we finish this through, and I'll give any explanation whenever it's necessary. To provide additional predictability to the XRP supply, so to make sure that people know exactly how much XRP there is, and to make sure Ripple can never dump on us, Ripple has locked 55 billion XRP into a series of escrows. These escrows are on the ledger itself, and the ledger mechanics enforced by consensus control the release of the XRP. So there's basically conditions set in place to actually take these out, which in this specific case are time-based. So that means after a certain amount of times, they can get this out. Some guy actually says he tagged me on Twitter for the white paper. I'm going to have to check that out real quick because I'm not sure exactly what white paper you're talking about. I did not see any tag for any white paper. I don't see you tagging me. I was like, maybe this guy has something to say. White paper? I don't think so. I don't see your tag at least, my man. Huh. I also don't know exactly what white paper you are referring to. But moving on. So the escrow consists of independent on-ledger escrows that release a total of 1 billion XRP each month. And this basically means that they're just independent on-ledger escrows. They're different payments. Like all of these ones are different escrow creations. So they're basically just different payments made. You can see they have a different transaction hash. They're different transactions. And the destination is back to me, which basically means they are escrowing it against themselves, which basically means they are sending it out, but it's also coming back in if the time finishes. And then you can see all the escrows that are right now locked up in place. And they're independent because they're different ones. On the ledger escrow that releases a total of 1 billion each month over the next 55 months, this provides an upper limit on the amount of new XRP that can be brought into the circulation, and the amount of XRP actually released into circulation will likely be much less than this because they are going to be putting that back in. During the process of moving Ripple's XRP into escrow, we also changed our account security model, and this is where things get, important. Because my first impression was that I had concerns. The XRP ledger supports a native multi-sign scheme, and Ripple secured the accounts the escrow release into using this scheme. Which, once more, guys, please don't look this up. You're gonna hate yourself if you look into everything regarding the multi-sign. I made a big mistake of looking into it, and it's really, really elaborate, really difficult to understand. I don't still understand it fully, so I'm not going to even bother you with that. The multi-signature scheme has numerous advantages over the schemes other ledgers use. For example, the signers or quorum can be changed without changing the receiving address. Individual signers can rotate their own credentials without disturbing the funds on the ledger. I didn't know how other systems have this, so I'm not going to quote on that, but it's good that it's basically verified through multi-sign scheme, which usually is that multiple different other addresses or people basically validate that something is the way it should be, or they basically put their money on it. Sometimes it depends. In usual case with exchanges, for example, when there's a multi-signature agreement, what they basically have is, for example, if they want to send 100 million Bitcoin from their address to another one, they all have to come together and basically flick the switch. So, it could also be that this multi-signature basically is so that it can never be messed around with, so that not one single entity could mess around with this escrow, but then all of them would have to mess around with the escrow at the same time. But once more, don't quote me on that. With multi-sign in a big corporation, we know that, for example, the CEO, the CFO, and the CIO could all have one key, and they could all kind of switch it together. And then, let's say, for example, the United freaking States or some other country. The rockets cannot just be launched. You have to all put your freaking key in the same in a different hole. All kind of put it to the right altogether, flick it, and then the button can be launched. It's kind of the same thing. The XRP Ledger's escrow system is designed to handle two use cases. The one that gives it the name is the ability to lock up the funds subject to release on one of two accounts depending on whether a particular condition occurs by a particular time. So this is just, again, it's a conditional payment. This supports interledger transactions or cross-ledger atomic swaps, which we'll see a little bit more of in just a second. The escrow system consists of three types of transactions and one type of ledger entry. Escrows are created with an escrow create transaction, which we just saw, right? This is the escrow create transaction right here. This creates an escrow ledger entry. We've also seen them right here. These are the entries right there. And an escrow can be either canceled or finished with an escrow cancel or escrow finish transaction. This can be done. If an escrow is successfully finished, it delivers the XRP held to its destination account, which in this specific Ripple case is themselves. And if the escrow is canceled, it delivers the XRP back to the source account. A ledger can have a date before which it cannot be canceled, though, a date before which it cannot be finished, and a condition which must be satisfied to permit it from being finished or to being finished. So this basically means, even though all these things are possible, and yes, we are streaming, it doesn't actually have to be the case. And so with the Ripple specific case here, they cannot be canceled, they cannot be altered. An escrow as a time lock, several different ways. But the simplest one is to create an escrow that cannot be canceled, cannot be finished before a particular date, and requires no additional condition to finish, which is the simplest one, but also the one that Ripple uses. For simplicity, the destination account can be said to be identical as the source account, which again, Ripple did, where basically if their escrow is finished, they get the money themselves. On the ledger, an escrow entry has a source account, a destination account, and an XRP amount, which basically just means you have a place where it came from, a place where it's going to go to, and how much XRP is locked up in that escrow. It is considered owned by the account that created it and increases the required XRP reserve for that account until it is completed or canceled. That basically means that's kind of the inherent feature that it has. It's basically just, it gets this required amount of XRP in the wallet to go up by the escrow amount, the XRP amount of escrow. And that's, again, why they cannot send it out, because the requirement of the wallet is so high that you are basically always having a negative amount of XRP in there. That's not completely true. Ignore that last fact that I just said about a negative effect XRP, because theoretically speaking, if you actually escrow 500 million and you have 1 billion XRP in your wallet, you can still have a positive balance, so that's not true. Not relevant, though. Escrow entries can optionally have a crypto condition that must be satisfied so it's finished escrow, a date before which it cannot be canceled, and a date before which it cannot be completed. All of that, though, is not what Ripple did. It's actually the most easy way possible. What Ripple did, inherently, is like the easiest escrow to think about. They went through the feature of escrow create, which is a payment type. It's basically like sending XRP, but then it's not officially sending it, but it's creating the escrow, which is still the same as actually sending XRP, though. But it's basically just sending your XRP with a time lock. They made this escrow for themselves. I have to kind of look through what this picture exactly means. They basically, this is person A, this is person B. They made an escrow of 100 XRP that's going to destination B at a certain amount of time. It's basically locked until a certain amount of time has passed. So the 100 XRP is taken away from user A. It is then locked up into this escrow, which in this specific case is called E. And after time is finished, it will be given to person B. That is only, however, once this time or whatever has been set in has been finished, then it's going to get released, and this person actually gets it, which is the escrow finish transaction, which is what they'll see come into their wallet. Now, I believe they actually might have some escrow finish ones here too. This is escrow execution. Not exactly sure if this is what it was called before or what exactly that's supposed to mean, but theoretically speaking, if the escrow would come into your wallet, that's when it would say escrow finish. Maybe that's what escrow execution is actually called, though. I'm not exactly sure about that one, but you guys get the drift and the gist of it. That's basically what that would mean, and that's also how it went with Ripple, but in Ripple case, they are A and A. So they basically made an escrow of 500 million XRP, and twice. They put a time lock on that, which is, 55 months, or pick something. I don't know exactly how many months it is. You can see a whole list for that on Leonidas' website, by the way, but it's not that important because it's basically just 1 billion each single month, and they keep kind of putting that up behind each other. And they basically, at the end of things, are going to send it back to themselves from which they can spend it, or once more, lock it up again. I think here's an expiration case. So basically, it didn't pull through, so the XP is returned. If the condition is not met or it expired, where, again, things weren't working properly or a limitation was set into place. And there's more and more which we could talk about, but I think the most important thing to just quickly discuss here is exactly how it works with Ripple, which right now, I'm not exactly sure how much is locked up in escrow. 50-ish billion or so. We can actually type that in. XRP escrow. I had it open, but I closed it because I didn't think I was actually going to keep talking about it right now. Let me see if I can find Leonidas' website. I can. Okay, so here we have a explanation of exactly how much is in escrow and how it worked. So they put 55 billion or 54, it's said here, that was in escrow. They took $1 billion out every month, for example, put 900 million back in. All right, and there's different numbers for different months, but that's the majority of what they did. And he's actually updated it, I believe, to this month now. He's actually updated this one. So what this shows is, again, how much XRP is still in escrow. And here's the accounts which there's basically money in. So it basically means that all of these accounts, as of this point, still have money inside of it, which basically means an escrow is locked up that is eventually going to be released. Here on the 1st of August, 1 billion XP will be released, which basically means the escrow has expired and will be sent to their own account back again. And they will most likely just send, again, 900 million back, which they've done every single time consecutively. And that will basically become another new transaction all the way at the bottom here, which is another escrow create feature, which will be beneath here. So right now, the last one is the 1st of July, 2025, 500 million. The next one will be another one for the 1st of July, and it will be however much they decide to put back in one transaction. If it's 500 million, it's 500 million, but it could also be 400, and then another one of 100, like we saw here, where it's sometimes split up in multiple different ones. That's, of course, because they get basically 500 in two different pieces, and one account is going to send 500 million back, but another account is going to send 400 million back, and then another different month basically has to give this 100 million. So I guess the last explanation I'll do here is for the next month here, 900 million will be put back into escrow. So 500 million will top this up, right, for July of 2025. But for August, there will only be 400 million put in. So it will have to, kind of change itself out. Whatever, guys, that was it for today's live stream. I think we covered everything we needed to. I'm also getting pretty tired here. It's almost 3 o'clock. I have another video coming up about freaking XRP scams. If you aren't yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's definitely going to be worth it. And if you did enjoy it, make sure you press the like button, maybe. I mean, we talked about a lot of things. A couple of videos coming out tomorrow. Most likely some summaries of what we were talking about today as well. But thank you guys all so much for stopping by. I see a little bit of hatred in the chat box. Whatever, man. If you enjoyed it, make sure you press the like button, and we'll see each other again a little bit later. Yeah, Dusty's never tired, huh?